In the dusty, blood-soaked annals of the Bronze Age, there is no story more haunting than that of Jephthah. To understand the man, one must understand the chaos of his time. This was the era of the judges. There was no central government, no standing army, and no king to dispense justice. It was a time of every man for himself. In the region of Gilead, a rugged territory east of the Jordan, a boy named Jephthah was born into a world that deemed him worthless. His father was a powerful man named Gilead, but his mother was a nameless outcast. In an ancient society, Jephthah was a living scandal. The moment the patriarch was in the ground, the brothers turned on Jephthah. They stripped him of his identity and drove him into the wasteland. In the lawless caves of Tob, he didn't just survive, he conquered. He became a magnet for the worthless men and the rebels. He built a private army, a mercenary force so disciplined and fierce that their names began to be whispered in the halls of Gilead. While Jephthah was building his empire, his homeland was falling apart. The Ammonites saw Israel's internal rot and struck. The elders of Gilead, the same men who had watched Jephthah be exiled, realized they had no warriors among them. In an act of hypocrisy, they traveled to Tob. They stood before the man they had discarded and begged him to save them. Jephthah's response was a masterclass in cold irony. Did you not hate me? Why come to me now when you are in trouble? He made them swear that if he won, he would be their absolute ruler. They agreed, blinded by fear. Jephthah attempted the path of the diplomat, but the king of Ammon was deaf to logic. He wanted blood. The Spirit of the Lord moved upon Jephthah, but the scars of his childhood, the need to prove he was worthy, remained. On the eve of battle, as campfires lit the horizon, Jephthah did something desperate. He didn't just pray, he bargained. If you give them into my hand, the first thing that comes out of my house to meet me shall be a burnt sacrifice. The battle was a slaughter. Jephthah moved through the lines like a storm, crushing 20 cities. He was the savior of Israel. But as he rode back to his home in Mizpah, the triumph began to sour in his gut. The doors of his house swung open. It wasn't a goat. It was his daughter, his only child, the only person who had ever loved him. She came out dancing, the rhythm of her tambourine a death knell for his soul. When Jephthah saw her, he collapsed. "Oh, my daughter, you have brought me low," he cried. He believed a vow made to God was an iron cage. But the true hero is the nameless daughter. She didn't plead for her life. She gave him permission to be a man of his word. For 60 days, she wandered the mountains with her companions, mourning not her death, but her unlived life. She returned on the appointed day. The text tells us simply that Jephthah did to her as he had vowed. Every year for generations, the women of Israel would go into the mountains for 4 days to weep for the daughter of Jephthah. It stands as an eternal warning. God does not require the blood of the innocent to validate victory. And pride is a man's greatest enemy.